Hello and welcome to Deakin's Virtual Open Day. I'm Edwina El-Hashim, Course Director of the Bachelor of Education Primary, and I'm thrilled to have you here as we explore the Bachelor of Education Primary course. We'll also be hosting a live Q&A session straight after this presentation to answer any questions that you may have. Before we begin, I'd like to recognise the various traditional lands on which our campuses are located. We acknowledge the land, the waterways and the airways of the Kulin Nation and the Gunditjmara peoples. We acknowledge the elders, past, present and emerging, of all the lands on which we work, study and live, and we pay our respects to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. So why study education at Deakin? Deakin is ranked among the top 5 universities in Australia for its education courses. We're ranked within the top 30 in the World QS rankings and number 1 in student satisfaction for 10 years running, which we're particularly proud of. We have world-class innovative research, we have dedicated academic staff, and Deakin's Bachelor of Education Primary is accredited with the VIT as a nationally accredited course for teacher registration in Victoria. This means that when you complete your Bachelor of Education Primary at Deakin, you will then be able to gain registration as a teacher with the Victorian Institute of Teaching. So you might be wondering, how will you enter the course, the Bachelor of Education Primary at Deakin? There are 2 ways of entering the course, either as a school leaver or a non-school leaver, and some of the requirements for entry are slightly different depending on how you're entering the course. If you're a school leaver, we currently have a minimum ATAR of 70 in 2019. You will also need to have a few prerequisite units. There are some options for which prerequisite units you might complete, particularly in the area of mathematics. So you might complete units 1 and 2 of general mathematics, or units 1 and 2 of maths, math methods, or maths specialist mathematics, or units 3 and 4 of any mathematics. You will also need a study score of at least 35 in English EAL, or English as an additional language, if that's the English unit that you are completing, or you will need at least 25 in English other than EAL. And to apply as a school leaver, you'll need to make a VTAC application. If you're a non-school leaver, there are a few different options. There are VTAC applications for T1. You may need to complete a personal statement. You may have a previous ATAR equivalent to an ATAR of 70, or successfully completed the Associate Degree of Education, which we will talk about a little bit later in this presentation. A successful completion of the STAT test. And if you're a non-school leaver applying for one Deakin course only, you can actually apply direct to Deakin. So there are a few options that you can look for, and you may find that you'd like to have some questions in our live chat as well to find out a little bit more. So I think it's really important to understand the structure of the Bachelor of Education Primary. It is a 4-year undergraduate course, and as you can see, there are some specific areas of the course that really stand out. One in particular that we're really proud of at Deakin is that we do offer you professional experience placements every single trimester of your degree, beginning in trimester 2 of year 1. And that's really important because it allows you to develop a breadth and depth of experience teaching in a primary school classroom. So all of those placements throughout the course will be in primary school classrooms, and you'll have a variety of different experiences as you complete those placements. They've each got a particular focus, and you will find that throughout the course, you'll have experiences in lots of different classrooms and a few different schools. In the course, as well as completing your core units and your professional experience units, you also will be able to choose a specialisation unit. I'm going to talk specifically about these options in the next slide, but you can see here that they are a core aspect of your course as you move through. So you begin your specialisation in year 2 and you do 2 units. You then continue on with it in year 3 and you complete the final unit in year 4 when you really look at how you can be a leader in that area of specialisation that you have chosen. You also have 2 elective units that you can see in the course structure here. And whilst you can choose from a vast variety of electives across the university, we do have some particular programs that you might like to take part in and use your electives for. And I'll talk about those a little later as well. So if we continue on thinking about your subject specialisation options, you have got 5 options to choose from: health and physical education, which is a really popular one, science, languages, language and literacy, and mathematics and numeracy. So our students come to us with a variety of different experiences and a variety of different interests. And this is a fantastic opportunity for you to think about the areas of the curriculum that you are most interested in and most passionate about, and follow those through choosing a specialisation area. In particular, if you already speak a language, you might like to talk to us about the languages specialisation and how you can build upon that within the Bachelor of Education primary course. Remember that this course prepares you to be a generalist primary teacher. So you will have studied science, you will have studied literacy, you will have studied maths, humanities, the arts, but you can also choose an area of specialisation as you go through the course and add to that generalist primary teacher knowledge that the course provides you with. There are a few programs within the Bachelor of Education Primary that our students choose to become involved in. As part of the Bachelor of Education Primary studies for 3rd and 4th year, full-time students with an overall weighted average mark of 75 or more for their first 2 years of study in the Bachelor of Education primary course, as well as a successful professional placement record, are invited to join this program. This is something that you can choose to take up at invitation, and many of our students have really very much enjoyed the opportunity to work with some of our academics in the program. And you can see Lynette and Di in the photo on the screen here. They work really closely with the students in the program to support them in learning the specific strategies that can be used to teach in disadvantaged schools. It's a wonderful opportunity, and the students who finish this program really are very appreciative of the learning that they've been able to gain. Another program that you have the choice to participate in is our International Baccalaureate Primary Years program. Deakin University is a recognised international baccalaureate organisation educator university, and what that means is that if you come to Deakin and if you complete the Bachelor of Education Primary, you do have the option of using those 2 elective units that I showed you earlier to complete the International Baccalaureate Primary Years program pathway units. And if you did that, you would also do your year 3 professional experience placements in International Baccalaureate Primary Years program certified schools. So there's a lot of words that I'm using here. The International Baccalaureate organisation has curriculum programs that are used internationally in many schools all over the world, and they come to teaching from a certain philosophy. The philosophy is really around inquiry-based learning. So it's about children learning by finding things out, by finding them out for themselves. And it's a particular skill to be able to teach this style in a primary school classroom. And so these units that we've got and the experience that you would gain in schools assists you in really understanding the skills that the teacher needs to be able to support this kind of learning for students. So if you complete this pathway, at the end of your course, you would be eligible to apply for the International Baccalaureate Certificate in Teaching and Learning Primary Years program from the International Baccalaureate organisation. So this would be a certificate that's additional to your degree that you will have gained as you will have completed the course. And once you've completed this pathway, it means that you are ready to teach in an IB/PYP school, and you are also really well prepared for inquiry-based learning in any school. And it is becoming a really, really popular way of teaching in many primary schools these days. So it's quite an employable skill to have. I mentioned our professional experience placements in relation to the International Baccalaureate pathway that you could choose. And I'd like to talk a little bit more about our placements. One of the things that's special about the placement program at Deakin is that our placement schools, many of them, belong to our teaching academies. We have teaching academies that surround all three of our campuses: our Warrnambool campus, our Geelong campus, and our Melbourne Burwood campus. And we also offer the Bachelor of Education Primary on each of those three campuses. Within these teaching academies, we have groups of schools that we refer to as alliances. And these schools have special partnerships with Deakin, and we have a site director who manages our relationship with these alliances. They support our students when they're on placement within the alliances, and they also give us opportunities to support the schools with research and various other activities. Alliance schools are preferred placement schools for Deakin students, and many of our students in the Bachelor of Education Primary are able to benefit from having placements in alliance schools. Our dedicated site directors for each alliance are able to support you when you are on your placement. They will visit you. They will run what we call assessment circles, which is an opportunity for you when you are at the school with your mentor and other students who are with you at your school or another school in your alliance, to have a conversation about the teaching that you have been involved in. And the thing that's really wonderful about that is that you're able to think back about something that has just happened while you've been practicing your teaching, to talk about it, to gain some feedback from a variety of different experts as well as your peers. And then you can straight away go back into the classroom where you're completing your placement, and you can modify your practice. You can learn from that experience, and you can apply some of that advice that you've been given in those assessment circles to improve your practice immediately. And we really think that that's a valuable way of building the capacities of our future primary teachers. This program is government supported, and it's a mutually beneficial partnership between Deakin and our school communities. We're really proud of it, and we love our students participating in their placements in alliance schools. Our professional experience more broadly is very, very important to the employability of our students. So I did mention earlier when we were looking at the course structure that in the Bachelor of Education Primary, you have consistent opportunities for professional experience placements throughout your course. In 2018 and 19, 93.8% of Deakin Education graduates were employed prior to the completion of their course. And in a lot of circumstances, students are able to gain networking opportunities between themselves and their schools through their placements. So you might meet somebody on your placement, and they might really think that you've done a fantastic job in your teaching, and they may become, for example, a referee for you when you go for a job. And that's a really powerful thing in terms of employability. At Deakin, we're working with more than 1,400 schools across Australia. Our professional experts will organise at least 85 days of placements for you in schools where you'll learn from experienced teachers. And the beauty of this is that means that you don't have to organise your own placements. We'll do that for you. We have the connections with the schools, we have the relationships, and we will be able to place you in a school where you'll be really well supported and you'll be able to learn the best from that experience. You can also give your studies a different perspective and take part in our global education program. In the past, the global education placements have included Switzerland, Vanuatu, and the Northern Territory. And students have really reported enjoying these experiences to work in schools in areas that are not in Victoria. Another thing that you can do is you can gain hands-on teaching experience and specialist expertise. At least one placement each trimester from trimester 2, year 1, to ensure breadth and depth of experience. And I really can't say that anymore. It's such an important part of our program that you're continuously in primary schools putting into action the things that you learn when you're on campus and practicing them and having another go if things don't go quite as you'd expected, because that's what we do as teachers. We do something, we do our best, we reflect on it, and we do it even better next time. There are opportunities for placements in a variety of contexts in year 3 according to your professional aspirations. And these include things such as rural or remote placements, regional placements, metropolitan placements, international baccalaureate schools, as I've already mentioned, or special education schools. So you may choose one of these. You don't have to choose all of them, certainly. What it's about is you looking at where you would like to go with your degree. Where would you like to go once you graduate from your Bachelor of Education Primary at Deakin? And speaking to us and seeing how we can support you in terms of your placement choices in year 3. This continues into year 4, where you have a one-on-one meeting with our professional experience experts to guide you in planning your year 4 placements as you progress to graduation. And this is really important because you have 3 placement opportunities in year 4 and you stay in the same school for the whole year. So you really become a part of that school community. And by having this meeting with our professional experience experts, you will be able to put to them what you would like to do and where you would like to go, and they'll be able to give you their advice as well as to what you should be doing. I mentioned when we were talking about entry into the course that there's an option of the Associate Degree of Education. We actually have a guaranteed pathway between the Associate Degree of Education at Deakin and the Bachelor of Education Primary. So if you enter into the Associate Degree of Education as a pathway into the Bachelor of Education Primary, you can complete both qualifications in a 5-year period. It's an established program with a strong record of success, and it's a guaranteed pathway to the Bachelor of Education Primary. The program provides up to 12 credit points into the Bachelor of Education Primary. And so what this means is that while you are completing your associate degree and developing some of the really important foundations for studying at a tertiary level, you will also be beginning your learning as a primary educator, and you will be beginning your Bachelor of Education Primary units prior to your transition into the course. It's a really wonderful option if you need a little bit of extra support in your transition to university and your transition into the bachelor's degree. I'm really pleased to be able to introduce to you Mitchell, who's a Bachelor of Education Primary graduate. Mitchell has a really strong quote, I think, which I'll read out to you about his perspective on the Bachelor of Education Primary and being a primary teacher. He says, "I chose this field as I have a passion for the development of young people. I want to gain the tools to become a resource to promote the growth of young individuals. This course has exceeded my expectations, as I could never have expected to grow so much as a person in terms of maturity, overall knowledge of all things, and my growing passion for teaching." And I would have to reiterate that for you. I taught Mitchell, and Mitchell was an absolutely fantastic graduate. He got to the end of the course and he has become a really wonderful primary teacher and a really wonderful Deakin graduate. So I'd like to thank Mitchell for presenting his perspective on our course. So speaking of graduates, graduate outcomes. Where are our graduates now? Well, the majority of our graduates are teaching in a range of roles and settings. In this course, you're qualified to teach from prep or foundation to year 6. and the majority of our graduates do choose to teach in primary schools when they graduate. You have the ability to demonstrate classroom readiness and make a difference to students' learning. From mathematics to science, visual arts to technology, you'll be able to teach across a wide range of subjects and specialisations, which is exceptionally important for a primary school teacher. One thing that you really need to be aware of is the Casper test. Casper is a non-academic selection tool, and it is a non-academic entry requirement for the course. It assesses teaching skills such as communication, teamwork, empathy, ethics, problem solving, professionalism. It's an online test and can be completed at home as long as you have the appropriate technology. You need video, audio, or webcam. You will be given 12 scenarios. There'll be 8 videos and 4 text, and you'll be required to answer 3 open-ended questions with 5 minutes for each. You can actually practice for the test. If you go to takecasper.com/test-prep, you can see the Casper practice. It does cost $80 to sit the Casper assessment test, and it is something that you will be required to do for any courses that you might apply for teaching, and you can use the same test that you've completed. So applying to Deakin, school leavers, you need to apply through VTAC. Current Year 12 students can apply through VTAC at vtac.edu.au, and non-school leavers, you can apply direct to Deakin. All other applications can be submitted directly to the university at deakin.edu.au/apply. So thank you for joining us. If you've got any questions, please join our Q&A session next. We also have live chat available during the Q&A. You can download the Bachelor of Education Primary course flyer. If you'd like to learn more, please explore our virtual open day website where you'll find additional information. We also encourage you to stick around for the live Q&A session, which is about to start. If you need to head to another session, you can speak to our experts on live chat anytime throughout the day.